Here we are with episode 2 of What's Upper Pinellas with Brian Savage and Marianne Davis. Hey, Marianne, how you doing?
Good, Brian. How are you?
Good. This
has been a couple of weeks since we started. This is our second voyage out in this adventure that we have.
Second voyage going live. We did do a dummy run where we thought we were live.
Well,
and I didn't quite get us live.
Yeah.
But,
well,
yeah.
Hey, boomer.
Right. That's funny.
That's it.
Funny. So, what do you got this week?
So, one of the things that I'd like to share is that you and I sit and we can talk for hours and hours, and we're going to try and limit it. But you are such a great wealth of information with all things related to the mortgages and many other things. But for those that don't know us, I'm with Vanessa Lender Group at Keller Williams, and Brian is the go-to lender that we have.
Thank you.
Saved many a deal, so I thought I'd like to just kind of pick your brain about a couple of different things. We had a little bit of a discussion. You had mentioned to me earlier that HELOCs, home equity lines of credit, are increasing, which is really kind of an interesting thing, or at least your experience.
Yeah.
You've had some. So tell me a little bit about that.
So the applications for HELOCs are up pretty significantly right now, and it had 3 this week alone. And what's interesting is you have people that are sitting on the fence to buying, saying interest rates are too high. And so, I'm just pulling numbers out of the air, but somewhere between high 6s and low 7s, too high to be in a 30-year mortgage. Yet I'm taking applications for $100,000, $375,000, and $500,000 home equity lines of credit, which, that you have a choice on those now that have a new product that is fixed. But majority of people are, thinking interest rates are going to come down. So they're on adjustable rate mortgage, and the interest, prime interest rate, which is what HELOCs are based off of, is like 8.5 right now. And then you put 2 or 3% on there for the bank profit, and you're in double digits. And which is very interesting that people are taking money in double digits to, do modifications to their house, to save for rainy day, to invest in other things. Yet we have people that are first-time home buyers, people that need to move up because they've had too many kids and, need some elbow room, are holding off on making that decision or holding off on making that move because interest rates in the 7s.
Do you think that some of these, well, you probably know, you don't have to think about what the purpose of the HELOC is for these people. I'm wondering if, and I know it happened with a client of mine, I believe, just recently, that they have a home, they had enough equity in that home to get a HELOC, and they also qualified with that for another mortgage on another home. So they were able to take that money out of the equity, put it as a down payment, and then buy another house and then put their house on the market.
Right. So you have lots of reasons people are using them. So that is one where people are taking equity and using it as a bridge on the next house, so they go in with 20% down or whatever the case is. And sometimes they'll keep that house behind them as a rental, depending on.
Could do that too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you do that with the HELOC?
Mm-hmm. So when it's what is the house at the time that you pull it out? What is the occupancy of that house when you pull the loan out? And then once that money's out, you can do with it what you want. They ask, you paying off debt? Are you doing home improvements? Are you buying another house? So you don't have to tell them, and there's nothing wrong with you. It's your money. It's your equity.
Right.
It's just trapped in the house, and you're separating it from the house. So, some people pay off debt, even though 10, 11, 12% on a HELOC sounds high, it's still lower than people's 25 to 35% on a credit card.
Right.
So people use it to pay off debt. One of the worst things I heard a person did is guy worked all high school, saved like $20,000 or $10,000 or $15,000, I think was the figure, and gave that to his parents to help them with their down payment. And then when he went to go to college, he started putting his college books and classes on his 35% credit card. So his parents, got a 5% interest rate on a 30-year mortgage,
Right.
and got their son paying 35% for his education.
Right.
So that's not a good idea. But yeah, so some people use that money to stay in their house, separate it, and use it for down payment on rental properties that way too.
Right. So you and I talk a lot, and we meet with investors regularly. So this is just a tool that some people use, and we could have a whole long discussion just about HELOCs. But I did want to talk about some other things.
Yep.
Because we do meet with. We have an investor group that we meet with. I personally am an investor, that, and I have a lot of clients that are investors.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me a little bit about, you have a group that you meet with, right?
Yeah. So
another pitch, rather.
I meet with another group in South County, and was invited by someone I had met in another, networking opportunity. And he said, "You got to get down here. Yeah, there's 30, 40 people sitting in this meeting, and there's another 10, 15 that are online." And so in the 3 weeks that I'm down there, there are people from California, Chicago, Connecticut, coming into this meeting, and it's like a swap show. I mean, it's like the game of Monopoly, but they're using real properties.
It's so funny. You were telling me about this, and what I think of is like old time horse trading or something.
Yeah.
Like, I'm from, I lived in Chicago, and there's a Chicago Mercantile Exchange and Board of Trade, and they're just down there like swapping, right?
Screaming and yelling at each other. Yeah.
That's what I envision. I'm gonna have to go and see what it's really like.
Yeah. It's because it literally was like last week I went, and this guy's like, "I got this 6-unit, it's fully rehabbed, it's fully rented, stabilized, and I want to trade this 6-unit for that beachfront primary residence, and it was an offer that was made. And so when you make the offers, people will accept them or say, "Hey, do your due diligence," and there's still due diligence period. So I guess they're kind of working through that. But I was like, it's just like watching Monopoly. Here's my 3 houses, give me a hotel.
I'm not sure, actually. I'm hearing you. I'm not sure if I like this, because where am I? Where's your realtor? But okay, but I know there's a lot of investors that will buy, and then I work with them. They may be there to buy something and rent it or put it on the market after it's fixed up.
Yeah. So I mean, you have investors that want to move on to the next flip. They don't want to do open houses. They don't want to show their property. They don't want to negotiate contracts. Yeah, because they just got done negotiating with all their contractors and that kind of stuff. So they list their properties to get more eyeballs on them.
Right.
So
and it's open to anybody. Anybody could go.
Yeah.
You could just go and there's no vetting.
Yeah.
Really interesting. And you were telling me of some of the things that were going on there, but you had mentioned something called the DSCR. No, I know what it is, but I'd like you to talk a little bit about the DSCR.
Yeah. So DSCR is a debt service coverage ratio, and that's a term out of commercial lending, and the residential term for it is cash flow.
Cash flow loan.
And so if you have $1,000 in expenses and you're collecting at least $1,000 in income, we can close that loan with lenders as long as you have the credit score and qualify and pay the down payment closing costs. We can close that loan based on the rents of that property, not your income, not your tax returns, not your.
So the just to put it in simple terms, it's the rent roll is going to pay. It's the asset that you have that will pay. It's your income. Right. That's going to be your income.
Yep.
So what's the down payment for something like that?
So purchases are generally 20%, 25, 30%, depending on what you qualify for, depending on the property. And so there is some, there's some variation from lender to lender, but it also varies based on your qualifications. And so your credit is still a part of it. And then the rents and depreciation and that, not depreciation, but expenses for repairs and vacancy and that kind of stuff do play into it. But you're looking at like anywhere from 20 to 30% down.
So am I right in thinking that if the rents that you're getting are higher, are very good, and they're solid rents compared to the the value of the home, that your down payment would be on the lower?
Yeah, the rents in your credit score. So higher your credit score, the lower the down payment, and the higher the rent or the higher the cash flow, the lower down payment. And so one of the questions that comes up is how do they determine the rents? So there's two ways that they do it. If you have a lease in place, and they will do what's called a rent analysis on the appraisal, and they would take the lower of the two, unless you can substantiate that one or the other is more accurate. But that's a little bit more involved, and generally people just want to get closed.
Right. But this is all the kind of the background work that you do in getting these things, putting them together and helping them to know what they can offer on it. Now, we talk about this too, because then the big question some people will ask is, well, what kind of rates do you pay for that? But I know we've talked that you got to stop looking at one number, but instead look at what's the cash flow? What's the return on this? Does it all make sense altogether? Right. So,
yeah. So there are people that are getting cash flow loans at the same or lower interest rates than conventional lending.
Oh,
and you don't have all of the hoops, dotting your I's, crossing your T's, the magnifying glass to look, through every, everything that a conventional loan requires. And
how about on this? How about condos? Brian has no idea what I'm going to throw at him at any point. But yeah. So what about condos?
So condos, there are approved lists for conventional VA and FHA that are already approved. And the nice thing about VA, if you're a veteran and you want to be in a condo, is if the condo is ever approved by FHA, even if it's expired, even if it's not currently approved by FHA, VA will still close on that.
I'm actually, I do want to talk about that, but what I was actually referring to was the DCR loans and condos. Can you do that?
Yeah. So you have things called warrantable condos and unwarrantable condos.
Okay.
And warrantable condos basically fit into the Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac conventional approval process. And there might be one or two things that keep it from going conventional. And so on a case-by-case basis, the DSCR for investors and bank statement loans for primary residence and or for elderly people, kind of 55 plus communities, if you have a lot of assets, they can do a cash flow off the assets. So there's ways to get around if a condo is not warrantable by Fannie or Freddie for conventional. There are some ways to get around that on the what we call Alt-A lending, which is debt service ratio for investors, bank statement, and asset depletion for primary residences.
Okay.
So
right. I'm getting you all these gnarly things right here. He has no idea. Yeah.
It's all good. No, but these are conversations we have, because it's not that Marianne has to be an expert in mortgages, but she has to know that these opportunities are available, because when she's in the car with clients, they're firing questions at her, and she's like, call Brian.
Right.
But at the same time, she has conversations like, I think we can do that. I think there's a loan that does that. Let's get on the phone. Let's give Brian a call, and we can talk through those things because she has knowledge of them.
So I had an instant recently. I had a listing. It was a condo, lovely 55 plus community, and the offer that we got was for conventional financing. So because it's a condo, and I don't, because I didn't bring the buyer, I don't always get to choose the lender. So Brian unfortunately was not the lender on this, but what I did was I called the lender to see if they had any background on the condo building. And I also looked at past sales within the last few months, and there had been another condo that had sold in there and had closed with a conventional financing. And I talked to the agents on that one too, and we saw it. And now we've had a little bit of trouble getting all the paperwork together, because sometimes it takes a little bit longer because the underwriting process is they're a little picky.
Yeah.
I say a little picky.
Yeah. So when you go to condos, you not only have the borrower's underwriting, you have the appraisal, and then you have the condo's underwriting for approval. And so if it's not approved by Fannie and Freddie already, or FHA or VA already, and on their approved list, they're doing what's called a spot approval. And each bank, if you're not using the same bank that just did that one the other month, then the whole new bank has to do the whole spot approval all over again. And then, the P lenders don't share information and go, oh, we already got that approved. Here's all the information.
I think we just had, I don't know if you talked to one of my partners, she had, there was another condo that it was the bank, whose name we all know and a lot of people bank at, and they didn't approve the condo, but another lender did.
Yeah.
No problem. That's why Brian gets the calls and like, oh, I got 3 days. You're gonna get this done for me.
That's so funny. That's true. But but that's one of the things that people don't understand about Florida, because when we went through the meltdown, and we are a judicial state, which means foreclosure, short sales, all that stuff have to go through the judicial system. You can't just go to the courthouse and record a foreclosure document like you can in California. So California recovered really quick because they're a recording state, where we're a judicial state. And so banks that got burned in the downturn, the meltdown, are very hesitant in Florida. And fortunately, there are lots of banks around the country that were not part of that meltdown here in Florida that are still lending here. And so when you come across a local bank that won't, or a national bank that got burned here that doesn't do them, it is literally flipping a coin, because you go into the bank and the guy that can type on the machine goes, oh, you're approved. But it's not until the loan gets turned in that an underwriter that knows the guidelines and knows what they're looking for will actually say yes or no. And so the guy that types on the computer out in the front keeps his job by taking applications and getting applications turned in. That's how they keep their job. The underwriter keeps her job by approving the loans that the bank wants, not the loans that are eligible, not the loans that qualify, not the loans that other lenders can close. It's the loans that the bank has decided that they want. The creme de la creme.
Right.
So, yep.
So this is sounding a little bit, dark or down, and we're up or Pinellas. But before we get up, we were talking about an article that you had seen, and there was a quote you told me that you said we were going to use this quote. Yep. Can you share it with me again? So
we named this podcast Upper Pinellas, capital UP, to kind of keep things on the positive, keep things moving in a positive direction, whether it's real estate or talking about the community in general, the sports teams, the water, whatever. We love Pinellas. And so when national news comes out and says things that they have no clue about because they're not here, and cause people to sit on the fence, get scared, what came to mind, because I read the headline to the article headline to Mary Ann Joy. But she immediately came back with another story, which she'll share in a minute. But I said before she shared her story, I said, Warren Buffett, quote from Warren Buffett is, when people are greedy, be scared. When people are scared, be greedy. And what that means is when everybody's buying, you should be selling. When everyone's selling, you should be buying. When people are sitting on the sidelines, that's the time to buy, because that's when the deals are. When interest rates drop and everyone comes off the sideline and you got 45 people making offers on the same house again, that's the time you should be selling.
Well, and that's why I was asking about the DSCR loans for
Yeah.
condos, because I think that the condo market's definitely, people are unsure and they're scared and they're fearful, and so they're not moving as much. So, but the headline was a negative headline about the inventory rates in Florida in particular. That they have just gone so high, which, when inventory's high, prices go down. So it's believed they have not yet come down. I'm going to say they're not going up as fast as they were during the pandemic. And but the other thing is that the headlines are always, I think, look, do we believe the media? I mean, do we really believe the media when they talk about politics? Do we believe the media about so many things? And yet we're going to believe the scary things about it. So, and I was sharing with Brian this week. This week we listed a house, beautiful house in Oldsmar. And I think that, we didn't, because I was out sick last week. So we didn't get to show you the video. We were going to. It was a beautiful home. And it was priced right. Yeah. That's the key. The house was priced where it should be. It wasn't underpriced and it wasn't overpriced. It was priced right on the market. We had an open house, and within 3 days, we had 4 offers. It sold for slightly over asking, not too high over asking, because it wasn't underpriced.
Right.
It wasn't underpriced.
So you have the Goldilocks of sellers that listen to their realtors. And
oh my gosh, these people, they're my favorites. I got scared though, because they did, Brian. They're like, whatever you say, I trust you. I'm like, oh, that's a scary thing. I take the responsibility seriously. And I have to say, we have an amazing team that I work with, and we all, we keep each other all in line. So it was great. But yeah, it was contrary to that headline, let me tell you.
Right.
And yeah, so people always ask what's going on. If it's priced right, it's gonna move.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So what else you got?
Well, I did want to say, because it's what's Upper Pinellas. So what's going on this weekend? I'm not as prepared, but it is Third Friday. Third Friday Safety Harbor is one of the best things that Upper Pinellas has. There's also First Friday in Tarpon Springs, and I'm not sure what Dunedin's is. But in any case, this is Third Friday, and they close the street down, Main Street in Safety Harbor. Vendors come out, and it's a music series. So they have music playing in the gazebo, and they have music down by the spa. And I'm going to go. I'm going to try and get out there and see things on Third Friday. So that's what's up this weekend. Do you know of anything going on this weekend? We didn't rehearse this, so
no. Yeah. I was considering doing a 2-day negotiating class. Investor and negotiating class. So that's what I do.
So much fun. No. Yeah. I find it very interesting too, but we're pretty nerdy like that.
No, with Lori, I did this really funny thing with Lori. I don't know if you guys did your kids do Flat Stanley when you?
Yes, I love Flat Stanley.
So for her birthday, so if I give,
wait, Flat Stanley, because not everybody's of the same age that we are. Yeah. Flat Stanley was a little cutout man that grade school kids would take and send it to people all over the place, and they would take a picture, and Flat Stanley traveled all over the world, right?
Yep. And so I can't buy clothes for Lori because I don't do a good job of that. I don't have the same taste that my wife has. And if I give Lori money for her birthday,
because it was just her birthday, as it was just yours. And so, your anniversary.
Yep. If I give her money, she'll spend $10 herself, and the rest will go to the grandkids. And so it's really sweet, but it doesn't serve the purpose, because when we go out, she'll, oh, I don't have anything. I'm like, oh, no. So what I did is I did this flat Stanley. I did it in 4 cards. One was the flat, we'll call it Flat Sally. It was a female.
Flat Sally, I love it.
And envelope 1 was a little Flat Sally shirt that she could glue on.
Aww.
And then we went to dinner with the grandkids, and I gave each one of the grandkids a card, and they pulled it out. And one was shorts or skirt or whatever, and the other was shoes. And they sat, while we were waiting for dinner, they sat there and did the Flat Sally with the granddaughters, and they thought it was the coolest thing to help her. And then she got little chips, money
to go
to
get
glue.
the short.
To go. So we're supposed to go do that this weekend.
Oh, that's so fun. That's good. But if you happen to be out looking for a house this weekend, we have an amazing new listing coming on the market. Brian's going to help me here. It's an open house. It's on Saturday from 12 to 2. It's at 1500 Elmwood in Clearwater. Now, this is a really unique opportunity. It's a unique listing. And it is, let's get it up there.
Nice.
It's 5,441 square feet. So it's a big house, 4 bedroom, 3.5 baths, and it's a beautiful Victorian style home that is down in Clearwater. It's got a corner lot, but look at all that beautiful detail. This is just, it's not a Victorian home. That's the thing that's really interesting is it is a newer home. It was built in 87. I know that's not new, but it's definitely not Victorian. So, but it has Victorian elegance and meets modern comfort. It's overlooking the Clearwater Golf Course. So it's a really super location. It's got some really nice little features like the wood inlay in the ceiling, and it's got the beautiful wood floors. It's got some really cute little rooms in there. It's got, like a little piano room, a little music room, if you will, with really interesting lighting throughout. The decor is just amazing, and you see it.
Sorry about that. We're dragging a little bit with the.
Our internet's a little slower. Well, you know what? When that happens, then you're just going to have to come out and see it.
Right.
It's an ideal setup for long-term guests or potential rental income. And I would just say, come out. Lori Finger from our team is going to be, and Scott Leonard are going to be hosting an open house because it's such a big property. We're asking that 2 of them are there. It's on, it's just under a half acre down there by the golf course. And great for, you could just see like a huge family gatherings and stuff like that there. And this is listed at $1,475,000. So, but it's like only $270 a square foot or something. I mean, it's just like, it's such a beautiful, big, beautiful, unique home. And I think it's going to make some family really very happy. So.
And you said this is how many square feet?
5,441.
And how many bedrooms and bathrooms?
4 bedrooms, 3.5 baths.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that yard. Isn't that gorgeous?
Gorgeous. And where in Clearwater is this?
It is down by the golf course, down by the Clearwater Golf Course. It's just right up next to it. Yeah, it's got that. It doesn't have a pool here, but it does have the hot tub out there. And
Clearwater Golf Course off like the Bay Court Street?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Then let me just get my bearings about me here and look at my map.
My bad. See,
it's okay.
See, I could throw things.
He's throwing things at me too. And here we are. We're all frozen. So
that's cool.
It is. It's it's on the other side.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a nice looking property.
It is. So please stop by and see it. And then the other thing is that, again, this is our new broadcast. So we're hoping to get more people to interact, send us questions during the week that we can answer for you or show you different kinds of properties that you might be looking for. And I guess that's all I got for this week, but I'm really excited. And I want to thank Brian again for putting all this together.
Yeah, my pleasure. lots of fun. I appreciate you. Appreciate you meeting up and doing this again this week, and look forward to doing it next week.
And how about this? How about this?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask if everybody could email us, Brian and I. If you know us, you must. You may, or let's see. We have. Here I am throwing it out again. Wherever you're watching this, respond to that and give us one of your favorite places to eat in Upper Pinellas.
Yeah.
And we can share it.
Yep. That's how I ended up. I got for our anniversary dinner.
Where'd you go?
Shouldn't say that. It was my.
Oh, I know where you went.
For my. So I had to pull some tricks on my wife this celebration season, because my birthday is first, so she always gets the leftovers on birthday. So I actually took her out the day before my birthday, and I got her recommendation from Lisa down at Safety Harbor, which was Marker 39, and it was fantastic. Never been there. Found out they are celebrating their 10-year anniversary, and chef came by our table and asked a bunch of different questions. It was very, very engaging. So it was a really nice experience.
Are they the same owners for Marker 8 in Dunedin and Thirsty Marlin in Palm Harbor?
I would love to say
I
yes,
think they are.
but
No? Okay.
somebody asked that at another, and they said, nope, this is our only location.
Okay.
So it's Marker 37, and it's just off of Main Street behind the cheesecake.
Yes, I know exactly where it is.
Yep.
It's a great place.
Yep.
Third Friday, when you're there, go out to that place.
Yep. So, well, thank you.
Thanks,
thank you.
Brian.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for being a part of this. And if there's things that you want to know more about Upper Pinellas or Tampa Bay area in general, give us a couple questions, give us a couple texts, whatever the case is, and we will catch you next week. Thank you.